crying? Oh, can you hear me cry? Can you hear me cry? Can you hear me cry?
Bach Boys. So this is a series that not many people are going to be familiar with, and we started it, and when I say we, I'm talking about Alex, which if you guys have been following the channel for about a year, you caught a little bit of him, but we started this Fits That Keep Me From Ending It All. Originally it was a podcast, but I'm going to try doing it in this format, see if that works a little bit better, it's a little bit more entertaining, so we'll see how that goes. Maybe eventually we can move it back to the podcast, but with that being said, welcome back to Fits That Keep Me From Ending It All, or FTKMFEIA. So as the title says, and you can see on the screen, the subject of this video or this installment in the series is Jeff Goldblum, the man, the myth, the legend, the zaddy, the panty dropper, the just overall awesome dude. So if you guys don't know who Jeff Goldblum is, he's famous for his acting. He's been in movies such as Isle of Dogs, Grand Budapest Hotel, Thor, Ragnarok, some of the recent ones, but he really had breakthroughs in movies such as The Fly, Jurassic Park, and then also Independence Day. So these are probably some of his main movies, but he also has a lot of other roles that he has taken on. And from his acting, he kind of garnered this heartthrob mantle early on that we will talk about a little bit later, but for just the introduction, he's an actor, he's been in all these movies, and with that being said, we will move on. So recently, Jeff Goldblum has started a show with Disney Plus, and it is called The World According to Jeff. And you can see a bunch of different icons up on the page, and basically every one of those represents their own episode. So there's an RV episode, a gaming episode, but the sneakers one is really big. He actually goes to SneakerCon in Chicago, I want to say is the one they attend. But it's kind of funny. He goes in with all these resellers, and you get some kind of big name people, and he's looking at these hype shoes and surrounded by Supreme and everything like that. But Jeff obviously didn't grow up in that. Looking at him, you can tell he's a little bit older, but he definitely looks great for his age, and his age is actually 67, I believe, is what he currently is at. So almost 70 years old, and he still just has all this respect and all this drip. Another little show you guys might be familiar with is Sneaker Shopping over at Complex, and this is a pit stop for a lot of pop culture figures. So if you guys are unfamiliar with Jeff Goldblum, hopefully this gives you some kind of idea of what his level of fame is or respect in our community of fashion, or more specifically sneakers here, which he doesn't have a whole lot of clout in, but we will talk about that a little bit more. As far as sneaker shopping went, he rolled up in the Nike Sakai's seen in the bottom left, the black and white colorway, and it does seem that he usually tends to wear these black and white silhouette shoes. This is also backed up when you look at the purchases he made in the episode. You have the Nike Off-White Presto, the black Yeezy 350s, and then lastly the Vans checkerboard slip-ons. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of hype in there. He shows up in the Sakai's, he buys the Off-White Prestos, and also gets the Yeezys, which kind of suits a lot of the shoes he wears as far as sneakers go. When he is seen wearing sneakers, they're usually these kind of wild ones, though he can often be seen sporting Chelsea boots or some nice dress shoes. But to also carry on with the hype sneakers, he was kind of one of the first people, or among the set of first people, to really embrace the Balenciaga Triple S. Here Jeff can be seen enjoying a hot cup of coffee and just kicking back. And also note the Hawaiian print shirt. This guy wears some crazy print shirts, which we'll get into more later as well. Following suit with the hype sneakers in non-saturated colorways though, you can see him rocking the Triple S in the gray colorway, and he also has stated that he has the black version as well. So this kind of just even more reinforces that he wears these hype shoes but usually keeps the colorways quiet for the most part. He also had a kind of funny story. I believe it was for this picture. He had been waiting for the shoes for a while, and then they finally came. I think he did get them a little bit early, just because, he's Jeff Goldblum, dude. Pretty sure anybody would send him free stuff. But then he went back home, and his kid was picking on them. I'm not exactly sure how old his kid is, but for a 67-year-old, his kid is pretty young. I want to say I don't know, under 10 maybe. But they were pointing at his shoes and calling them moon shoes or something and picking on him. And I think his wife was also hating on him, but he has stated that he has gotten his wife a pair as well, and he was talking about how good she looks in them. And I want to say he got her the like more colorful ones, kind of like the gray with the red and the blue, but I'm not exactly sure. So this is kind of a wrench that I got to throw at you guys right now. This man seen in the pictures with Jeff wearing, you know, a lot of the same pieces in the pictures is actually Jeff's stylist. I forget what his full name is too. I think it's Andrew Vitari. I couldn't find him anywhere, so I didn't include anything else about that, but his first name is at least Andrew. I know that much. But, you know, obviously you can see them both sporting the same bombers in the first picture, which I'm not a fan of those bombers. Those are like the ones that fit way too small. Personally, I think that looks fine on a girl. It's more of the like crop top style, but on a dude, I just don't care for that much. And then in the second picture, you can see them sporting some cowhide truckers, which look great. Those are beautiful. The Palace Chelsea cowhide boots they had like a year ago, or might be 2 years ago now, would look great with that. I think that's a very cool jacket. But yeah, you can see them sporting, you know, a lot of the same attire, obviously just for these pictures to kind of show off. But this is his stylist. I originally found out about his stylist in his Disney Plus show. I think he brings him up, and then also in the sneaker shopping video he shouts him out. So he's not like trying to hide it or anything or keep that quiet, but I think it is important to note that he does have a stylist. So that kind of, personally, I think that takes away from it a little bit. But to me, this makes sense. You know, being 67 years old, you can see that he would, you know, maybe have a hard time keeping up with trends or fall out of touch with a lot of the interesting styles that are coming out, or like big brands. So he obviously has this guy to help him out, staying fresh, you know, getting those deals or whatever, procuring those pieces, selecting those suits, wrangling those. I can't think of an alliteration for that. I think that's an alliteration. Anyway, moving on. He has a stylist. I think it takes away a little bit, but you know, Jeff is still dope, and I'm sure he has, you know, some sort of style on his own, but this guy obviously helps out. So Jeff is not only an actor, he is also a musician and performs with the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra. And this is kind of more music, kind of similar to Frank Sinatra, that type of era. You can see Jeff playing the piano there and then also doing vocals. And I added these pictures to include some of his crazy outfits. I think this guy wears just some insane button-ups. We'll get some more on the next slide, but on the bottom you have this kind of like zebra print one with some daisies and skulls, a nice low saturation on the colorway. Like I said, it seems, you know, he wears a lot of just black and white stuff, but he also gets these crazy loud outfits, like up top this just bright magenta and purple, just covered in flowers, and also accommodated by the zebra pants. Another item Jeff wears a lot are these fedoras, and I'm not exactly sure if that's like technically a fedora or if there's a more technical name for it, but I'm gonna call it a fedora. You know what I'm talking about. He wears those a lot. So here we are to look at some more button-ups, and not only are these button-ups, these are all Prada, and it seems like, I don't know if he has like a sponsor with Prada or what the deal is there, but he obviously has some connections over at Prada because he wears so much of it. If you dig through his Instagram, like half the posts, maybe even more than half the posts, are him wearing Prada, and he'll shout them out in his description, so you know there's probably some sort of connection there. Starting with the image on the bottom left, and no, I don't know the names of any of these pieces, but Pusha T has also taken a kind of like famous picture in this tee or this button up, and I think this is very cool. He got stripes on one side, some wild like kind of like 80s designs going on the, I guess it's technically the right side, and then the flames I think are what really makes it. But just kind of this like work shirt, a very cool Prada piece, one of my favorite designer pieces. Like I've been following, or I've been known about that piece for a minute, and you know, that'd be cool. That'd be something cool to get. In the center, you know, another wild piece. You got feathers coming off of Jeff's shoulders, making him look like an ostrich or something. But following suit with a lot of the button-ups he wears, covered in floral print, and then also a heart on the right side of his chest. And then on the top right, you have yet another fire Prada piece covered in these kind of like Greek paintings, and it almost fits the colorway of whatever that dishware is called. I forget what it's called, but you know, it's the like off-white and then blue stuff. I'm blanking, so somebody help me out in the comments if you guys are watching this far. But to just create a generalization from this slide, I think you can say that this dude wears some of the best button-ups. He's got some of the best button-up game in the business, in the culture, in the streets. You know, that bottom left one, that's wild. Like, it's the same one Pusha T wore. Give Jeff some respect. Put some respect on Jeff's name. Moving on, Jeff is 67 years old. He comes from a different era. This is a different style he grew up in. You know, the people he looked up to dressed differently. So, of course, this dude also has like a very dapper side. You know, starting off on the far left, you have this big, I'm not exactly sure what that'd be, like a trench. I don't think that's a trench, maybe like just an overcoat of some sort. And I believe this is at an event for Isle of Dogs, one of the movies I mentioned on slide 2, I want to say it was. Not that that's important, but just this crazy maroon overcoat looks so nice. Like, ooh, that looks so good. I believe it is like some sort of wool blend, just looking at it, but he's killing it, man. Just look at him. Very classy, beautiful overcoat. 10 Goldblums out of 10 possible Goldblums. The other two pictures kind of show off a little bit more of the suits that he wears and how he ties in his crazy button-ups with them. The center one, I'm not exactly sure what the all-over print is on there. Almost kind of looks like a solar system print with some planets. But yeah, he matched that with some interesting gold shades, almost like some aviation style ones. Not aviators, no, like some actual like aviation ones that you'd like rip out of a old-time pilot's helmet. And then also he paired that with a beige suit. And then on the right, you can see him rocking this whole purple hue with the purple top and bottom piece suit. Somebody's racing by and the wind is howling, but his tie is also howling because it looks so good. Kind of like an abstract painting. You got the sun, almost like some lava and some water all flowing together. And then he paired it with a button up of a sunset and some palm trees, it looks like. And I will say I'm not crazy about the button up that he paired it with, but style does get crazy sometimes, and I wonder how much of that is him and then his stylist. Because if you follow Jeff or know like anything about him, have watched some of his interviews, he is a kind of all over the place individual. He's very interesting, you know, that's why Disney Plus gave him his own show. But definitely a lot of character and a very, very cool dude, man. Jeff Goldblum. So to continue on with kind of that dapper, older style, you know, like I said, 67, he grew up in a different time. Jeff also wears a lot of leather. Starting off, the leftmost picture has this like leather chore coat, or just kind of like a leather blazer almost. And yes, you can tell this is obviously him when he was younger. I think this was around the Jurassic Park days. And then moving on, the other images are obviously much more recent. The center one is, I'd say, more along the lines of a chore coat. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe that's called an engineer coat. I forget. It's something along those lines. But moving on, you just have the classic leather biker jacket on the top right. And, you know, he's wearing his fedoras. He's doing his thing. He's got some, like, old school denim with the old bicycle. Like, come on. This is a look. Even if you don't support it or you don't rock it, you gotta respect it. You know, this guy, this is the time period he grew up in. He's also rocking this style, and it really shows the full range he has. You know, he can dress like 67-year-olds, can also pull off these like almost hype beast outfits, not necessarily more of like an elevated fashion with the crazy like Prada stuff and then the Balenciaga triple S's, but it has a wide range, and you can probably thank his stylist for that. So going back to when he was younger, this is a very famous image of him from Jurassic Park, just sitting there shirtless. They actually made like a huge statue of this and put it up somewhere. I'm not exactly sure which town it's put up in, but I think they might talk about it in the Hot Ones episode or the sneaker shopping, or maybe both, just because it's such a like wild thing, and it shows the obsession that people have with him. And they also have an interesting name for him, or a name like a lot of people are probably aware of, but something that a lot of people call him, which we'll talk about, I believe, in the next slide. But I just wanted to like throw this up to show that, you know, he is kind of this like heartthrob, or a sex icon. I don't know, a sex symbol. He's seen as, you know, very, you know, he's Jeff Goldblum. So this is what I was saying. People like to call him Zaddy, and you know, you look at his comments, like you got the like hard eyes, the moaning emoji, and then water. Like you guys can connect the dots on that one. Damn Zaddy. Somebody said, "Jizz, wow, you're hot." You know, okay, Jeff is definitely Zaddy status. Like, that girl's looking pretty young. I mean, all these girls are looking pretty young, especially compared to Jeff, 67 years old. Hopefully it's 67. I've been saying that the whole episode. But yes, people love to call him Zaddy, especially the females. And if you go in any of his Instagram posts, like, you can find just all these like heart eyes and people like talking about how hot he is and like how good shape he is in for his age, and like everybody calling him Zaddy, like just all this thirst in the comments, which is funny. And you know, it just builds up to the legend of Jeff Goldblum. This guy is awesome. He's one of my favorite actors. He's very entertaining, very interesting individual though, and it's cool to see him, you know, transcend from not only just being an actor, but he also went into the like fashion community, which, you know, honestly we see a lot of people there, but I don't think they take it to the customization and levels that Jeff Goldblum does, but you know, also has the stylist. That being said, this is the end of the episode though. Let me know what you guys think of it. If you'd like longer episodes, I really don't know what kind of like time frame this one's gonna hit. I have like 30 minutes of footage, but I'm assuming a lot of that's gonna get cut down. And yeah, let me know if you guys would like to see it in a different format. Like I said before, we were doing like Twitch live streams, and then we just like export it to YouTube. Obviously now I do a lot of YouTube live streams, so I could just do the live stream here if we did it. But the only hard thing about that would be kind of trying to answer comments while trying to keep on track with the topic of the video or the subject of the video, the streetwear fashion icon in the video, the dude who keeps us from ending it all. But you know, we made it another day, and I appreciate you guys coming by and watching. Feel free to recommend somebody else that you would like to see a video on that we can inspect their fits on. And with that being said, I'm out. Hope you guys are doing all right. Be safe. Bruhbushka boys, Bach boys.